Welcome to Tunnel Vision. I'm Riley Sager, joined by Ryan Abraham and Connor Morrissette. This is Tunnel Vision recapping USC's 45-31 win against Michigan State yesterday, brought to you by USCfootball.com. Call in, live call, 512-4TUNNEL. We're live on YouTube and Facebook, so leave any comments if you want to ask some questions or just comment anything we're talking about. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Hey, nice one, Riley. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, Connor, again, although I saw you this morning. Yes, it was a late night at Coliseum. USC takes down Michigan State 45-31, and it's our recap show. It's great to have Riley back. It's fun to have Chris. We had Chris last week, right? After
we did.
The travel. Yeah, we had a
pretty
travel
tired last week, too.
It was a little tired. Yeah, it's like both times after the last two games, it was like 2 a.m-ish when we were like leaving. I was like, you guys didn't leave the press box until that, but it was a little nutty. Yeah, it's a late kickoff, 4-hour game. And we'd work for a couple hours afterwards. It makes for a late night. Well, boo-hoo us, I know, but it is a late night.
Yes, but USC is now still undefeated, but now 2-0 in Big Ten play.
Yeah, as far as like the Power Four conferences, USC has the best conference record, and Ole Miss. Like they're both 2-0 in their respective conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. So not bad, better than last year. And starting off getting that loss on the road at Michigan, but 2-0, and it'll wrap up a little bit, in the next few weeks. But yeah, it's a good. I mean, we got a lot to get to in this game, but it was a good start. You want to get a win there. They didn't cover, which annoyed me a a bit. Did you?
Yes.
Did you pick them to cover?
I picked USC.
Oh, yeah, we all did.
It could have happened.
It should have happened. It was a
Yes.
backdoor the other way, yeah.
Definitely should have happened, but remember, with 40 seconds left in the third quarter, it was a 7-point game. That was crazy. But then USC, they did enough to get back into the cover territory, and then at the end, USC allowed that big play that ended up hurting it. But overall, I think offensively, that's where I start with this game, where Jayden Maiava was a surgeon, 20 of 26, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and then he also rushed for 2 more. He was exceptional. And heading into the season, Chris and I talked about this on Instant Analysis. The big question I had was, is he going to be able to raise his floor? Where we all saw the great plays from him last year. He had a handful of just tremendous plays, but then he had the interceptions, the fumbles, the decision-making wasn't always great. And I've been guilty of this. I think sometimes we forget that he was thrown into the fire. Yes, they had that bye week, but starting those last 4 games when the previous 9, he was not the starting quarterback. Like, of course you're not going to get the play that you would expect from a guy who has the whole offseason, another year in the Riley system, is the known starter going in. That was a tough spot for him, and going into this season, the question was, is he going to make better decisions? Are his negative plays not going to kill USC like they did a year ago? And through the first 4 games, he's been exceptional. And he'll go as far as, or USC will go, as far as he takes them right now. That's kind of how I feel with this team. If Maiava's going to play like he did last night, USC's going to win a lot of games. He was exceptional.
He really was great. USC... they punted in garbage time in the last 20 seconds of the game. No real punts in the game. They did have the 1 turnover, not on him. For him to go 4 starts, 4 games without any turnovers, where he had 7 through 4 games last year, that's pretty major. And 2 conference games, 1 on the road, still no turnovers. And I don't think it really had turnover-worthy plays last night in the Coliseum, where he had a couple maybe on the road at Purdue. USC didn't have any negative plays as far as tackles for a lot. They did nothing, no sacks, no running backs got tackled behind the line of scrimmage, so everything was moving forward. And like I said, no punts. They did have a failed 4th down conversion where it was 4th and 4, and they picked up 3. It was a completed pass. It's one of those things. Okay, and then having DJ Jordan with that unfortunate fumble at a really terrible time, like the worst time you could possibly do it. But their drives are like just successful all the time. Like they're just, I think it was like 80-something% success rate on drives. Like they're just being able to move the ball consistently. And it's college football. It's hard. Even you're going against air, it's not easy to make everything work. But the fact that you're able to move the sticks and keep things going, and they were much better on 3rd down than they were against Purdue. 8 of 12, 67%, where they were 4 of 13 or whatever they were against Purdue. Just it was a really good offensive performance. And like you said, if you're going to play like that on offense, you're going to win a lot of games. And I'm not saying you can keep doing it, but man, they did so much right on offense that it's, and but Riley, I want to get your thoughts too. It's just, but yeah, the offense was elite. It was spectacular last night.
Yeah, and I think going into the season, a lot of people expected the defense, which of course we'll get into. But biggest concerns for offense were, can Maiava, minimize those interceptions, not get sacked, and then also the offensive line. There were a couple questions that shifting around, especially in fall camp, they didn't really have the spots solidified. And even you saw yesterday in the game, when Elijah Page went out and Justin Tanu had to fill in for him, and then Tobias Raymond went to right tackle, and like all these different moves are going on during the game, and they're still pulling it off. So I think two of the biggest concerns going into the season, those questions were kind of answered yesterday. Of course, still a lot to see when you're playing opponents where you might be down, but I think that was pretty helpful.
The line is way better than I thought, and the great thing from yesterday, as you pointed out, Riley, Elijah Page goes out. That's not the great thing, but then you don't notice
you didn't
any
really
mistakes.
Yeah.
And is that true? They had no negative plays?
No negative plays. I was watching on the binoculars to see, like, there's Justin coming in at left tackle, and it's like, okay, it looks fine. And then you realize, like, wow, they moved Benuelos and Tobias, and, like, they moved the guys around, and it still seemed like, we always talk about, when you talk to, like, offensive linemen, and, they'll say it's like 5 fingers on a hand. Everyone just has to kind of work together. So when you move 3 of the 5 pieces, 60% of the line was different, and it still worked. And I think that's a credit to Zach Hansen and Lincoln Riley, the whole offense, like that they had a major shift. Like that's probably the one position, if you lose Elijah Page, that you're going to have to move more guys around. It's not just putting in the backup left tackle. It was, you had to switch 3 different spots, and it still worked well. So, I thought that was a great aspect of it. And we talked about Maiava. He was thrown into the fire last year, and I think there were questions with Lincoln Riley in the offseason, like, hey, what are you doing? Are you going to go get a guy from the portal? This looks like a different cat. Like, he's probably less vocal than he was last year as far as, like, when, media availability, not very good. Like, that's fine, whatever. If he doesn't want to talk, that's fine. He answers questions pretty quickly and stuff. But his play, and I think being a leader for the team, which is obviously way more important, and his play on the field, it just looks very different. And I'm wondering, like, what if he was the starter all of last year? Does it make that, is it the offense different? Because the offense took major steps backwards last year. And Connor asked Lincoln Riley about, like, did you get your swagger back? And he's like, I never lost it. And it made me think,
yeah, you did a little bit.
Yeah, last year they didn't have the offensive swagger. But, and I know a lot of fans, and we would always tell them, stop, this isn't the case. The quarterback. We're like, look, it wasn't the quarterback. But, man, like, it's pretty similar. You could say the offensive line's, like, in a worse position than maybe last year. But the
offensive line's better.
They're playing better. But we thought it would be like, that's kind of a question. This is back to, like, an elite offense where number 1, number 2, number 3 in all these categories, which they were nowhere close to that last year. And I don't know how much is just a quarterback that had a whole offseason that is getting it or whatever it is, but it is working again. And if they didn't have their swagger last year, they have it now. And Lincoln Riley kind of got a little miffed at that one, but they look like the regular. Every year, Lincoln Riley's offense is like top 4 and everything. And last year it wasn't. It wasn't even top 25. Now it's like back, and it's like, okay. So I don't know what you think. If it's like, how much is it the quarterback, and if he would have played all last year, would we have seen this? I don't know.
2 things. First, remember Maiava? We interviewed him in his first spring practice, and he just was so down on himself, and he was like, I'm not ready. I don't think he was ready to start the year last season. Clearly, he got better as the year went on and got more comfortable, but if he was better than Miller Moss in fall camp, I'm 100% sure that Maiava would have been the starter. But I get what you're saying. Like, hey, this looks so much better. Why you had this guy on the roster? Why wasn't he starting last year when there were some quarterback questions? But I think he needed some time to develop. And then the second thing, in the offseason last year, the big talking point that everyone wanted, the question that everyone wanted to have answered is, Lincoln Riley ready for the Big Ten? Is the Big Ten ready for Lincoln Riley? Who's going to win that push and pull? And last year, it looked like Riley wasn't ready for the Big Ten.
The Big Ten won, yeah.
And this year, USC, it's totally different, and it looks like the Big Ten isn't ready for Lincoln Riley. But it's early in the year. They're 2-0 in the Big Ten. They played two teams that will be middling at best, so don't want to get carried away here. But you look at the schedule, there's no Ohio State. There's no Penn State. Oregon is on the schedule. There's no Indiana, who just absolutely kicked the crap out of Illinois. There's opportunities for USC when you look at some of these games. Like, if you can just outscore a Michigan, if you can just outscore a Nebraska, if you can outscore in Illinois, there's not a lot of explosive offenses that you're going up against outside of maybe Notre Dame's rushing attack, and Oregon looks pretty explosive, but that's it. And the way USC's playing right now, the offense is so explosive, they're going to have a chance to win all of these games, even potentially in Eugene, because they're scoring so many points. And I do think Riley's got his swagger back. And, yeah, he didn't like that question, but I'm glad that he didn't lose any confidence because it's clearly helping.
No, yeah, I think you're right. And it's helped a lot. It was, I think last year, if you look at like the Michigan game, if USC had an elite offense, you just put the Wolverines away. And, like, you're not in a position where –
well, they couldn't block last year.
Right, but I mean, if you're scoring, like
they did score.
But I mean, you could put some distance in there. You're not just like up in the fourth quarter. You're up like a couple of touchdowns or something. Where all it would take was, they couldn't throw the ball, and like a good offense can kind of put a team like that away and make it so you can't run enough that we're going to allow you to catch us or whatever. This year, if that kind of happens, like I think you can. You could put some distance on yourself at an Illinois, at a Nebraska, with an Iowa team that they scored a bunch of points. To be fair, but I'm not convinced.
I'm not buying them. Rutgers stinks.
I think if you can keep this offense up and just not have a whole bunch of drives where they're just not punting very much. Like if you don't punt, like that's pretty darn good. Like you're not turning the ball over and you're not punting. Like drives are ending because of field goal attempts or touchdowns most of the time. Maybe a failed fourth down conversion every once in a while, but I think you live with that, and that's the way USC's been living. We'll see if they keep it going, but yeah, it was pretty impressive.
I was definitely impressed yesterday, and I tweeted this out. If USC's offense executes like this consistently, then the penalties and the defensive mistakes won't matter. They're not going to execute at that high level against better teams every single time. But the point is, like, when you can score that amount of points, the margin for error is just much different than last year when they needed to, like, I'm doing an analogy early. I'm taking after you. Like you wring out a washcloth and you got to get all the water out. Like they needed to get as much water out last year as possible to do anything. This year, it's soaking wet. They're wringing it out, no problem, and you're getting free-flowing water because the offense is doing such a nice job. So, penalties were a big talking point yesterday, and that's something we'll talk about too. And I've been critical of the penalties, but like if you look at some of the statistics that head coaches pay attention to, like quarterback rating is a much better metric for how well you're going to do in a given game than how many penalties you have. And I think Riley subscribes to that more than the penalties. Now, were there some mistakes in that game that are awful and they got to coach those away and just make improvements? Absolutely. But they're making mistakes like they did last year, but they're able to overcome them because they have a good defensive front and they can score a lot of points, and that's a great sign. Yeah.
Just a little programming note or whatever. So if you're on Facebook, that's great. You can put your comments up, and Riley will see them and put them on the screen. The YouTube ones are coming up on our screen. We can still see them, and if you have questions, we'll try to grab them and put them up there, but we just can't share them with everybody on the screen. So my apologies for that. But we got a whole bunch of people watching on Facebook, so that's all, on YouTube. Some people on Facebook too, but we appreciate that. Offense, should we switch to defense, Riley? Get on that side a little?
One more thing.
Oh, okay.
Maiava's play of the game, perhaps, in the third quarter.
The third and three?
The first play of the fourth quarter, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was confusing. But, yeah, the picking up 13 yards with his legs when he went
all
the way over here
yeah.
all the way back. That looked scary.
It was like a weird-looking play because he started rolling, like, right away. And you're like, I haven't seen, like...
Yeah,
so
when they collapse the field and the good stuff doesn't always happen.
It just seemed like, you're going to start with that? Like, I get it if, like, your read here is not there and then he was rolling out. But those haven't really worked all that well this year. And the play just went right into that. You're like, uh-oh. And then looked like it could have been a sack. Some Caleb Williams kind of magic, He got a win today. And
he did.
Takes it off and picks up 13. That was a really important play because USC was – tripping over their own 2 feet and like made it. I think it was a 7-point game at that point, right? So the option of not scoring there was no option of not scoring. You had to score, And 3rd and 3, if you get stuffed, then you can go for it on 4th and 3. But if you got sacked for 8 yards, that would have been a problem, Riley.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, when I was watching the play, I thought at least 2 or 3 times, I'm like, oh, he's down. Like, no. And then he just kept running, and then he just ran the ball, and he gained 13 yards. But I think if you compare that version of him to last year, it would have looked completely different.
I agree. He probably gets sacked last year, and the offensive line probably makes a mistake last year, too. Like, it just wasn't as clean. But I'm totally with you. I thought that was the play of the game, and then a few plays later, USC picked up the 4th and 3 on the 10-yard pass to Mekhi Lemon, so both of those plays were huge. Maiava was involved in both, of course, and man, Mekhi Lemon, he's something special, huh? 8 catches on 8 targets, 127 yards, the touchdown in the air, the rushing touchdown. Jacoby Lane isn't playing in this game, so Michigan State keys on him even more. And what happens? He has another huge game. He is a guy who is going to be an NFL draft pick. I think he's going to be a first-round pick in the spring, but what a tremendous player, and he's just so consistent, and he was at his best last night. He was another really great player in that game.
Was it his touchdown run that Maiava was holding his hands up while he was like blocking or whatever? Was that the one, or what was the play that Maiava like had to?
I think so, but I would need to go back.
I forget what it was.
I think you're right.
That was like a really cool play too, because you could see that where you're like in space and you're like, oh, they're gonna throw a flag, and he made it like, look, dude, I'm just I'm just here. Like I'm not putting my hands on anybody. I'm just in the way. And I think he had to sell that because you know, sometimes refs are going to throw some flags, and he's just like, he took the flag out of their hands. Like, no, I'm not letting you throw a flag on this. Like, I'm innocent. And yeah, that was good.
The development with the team is standing out, whereas Mekhi last year was solid. He led the team in receiving yards. At the end of the year, he was great, but like in your second year, he wasn't as reliable as here in his third year. He's Maiava's go-to guy. He's an alpha. He is arguably the best receiver in the conference. I know Jeremiah Smith is in this conference too, and he is an incredible talent, but like Mekhi Lemon is right there in the mix with the elites of the elite, and that's huge. Maiava's gotten better. Lemon has gotten better. The offensive line has gotten a lot better, and they're bringing Tanu Kynes along. Lake McCree, it looks like he's gotten better. And we're sitting here last year, Ryan, doing all these shows, and we're talking, and it's like, okay, Woody Marks is great, and the receivers, I think they're getting better. They have some games where they look great, but, like, who's really getting better? Last year, Elijah Page got a lot better, but there weren't too many guys where you could kind of see from the first year to the next year, it was like, okay, this guy has made some huge strides, and now we're seeing a totally different situation where you can point to pretty much everyone on the offense who was on the team last year is doing much better than a year ago. Walker Lyons comes to mind too. Like the development with these guys who've come back has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and Jacoby Lane not playing. Did we mention that really?
I mentioned it briefly.
Briefly, yeah, but like, and the offense still boom, 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 click, click, click. So that was good. We got a live call.
Ooh.
We can go to. So we'll do defense next, but
yeah, let's go to our live caller.
We got a live caller. It looks like Mitchell in New Jersey. Mitchell, you got us?
Are we potted up over here?
Oh, can you the red one, the mute for under the red one, the laptop? Like, see where it says laptop? Hit
Laptop.
mute.
You gotta love live radio.
There's a mute.
Folks.
Yeah,
Mitch will be with you in 1 sec.
Mute, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
We got you.
Sorry about that, Riley.
Mitch, you're on. Hello.
Good call.
Oh, hi. How we doing again? Game was much too late last night, and next week, I'm sorry, it's too early. It's too early. You can't win with some people. There's no pleasing everybody. But our offense is clicking. I loved it, and the numbers offensively in the deep part. But I want to say you can throw in Maiava in the Heisman race because it looks like Arch might got himself out of the race. One guy who's definitely going to be in has to be in Fernando Mendoza. And I'll leave you one more. I said too much already. Kay Clubman has been pretty disappointing. You can take those two guys out of the Heisman race, throw in Maiava. I guess I never heard of them because you guys are so far out west, right? Even though you're in the Big Ten.
No, we know those guys. Yeah.
Right.
And, it's no, I think
Yeah.
there's a race open. Oh, thanks, Mitch. I appreciate you calling in. And I'm a Heisman voter. Yeah, like it's one of those things where like USC's. Yeah, sorry about that one, Riley. That's we mute the caller. It was good. I need to pregame her on that one. But yeah, if you're the USC quarterback and your offense is going bonkers and you're winning a lot of games, like you're going to be in the Heisman conversation. That's just the way the way it is. So far he's not doing anything to hurt himself. You pick up some of those extra rushing touchdowns. You don't turn the ball over. You're efficient with the ball. Like, there's a lot of good things that are happening. And once you do that and you get, you beat a ranked Illinois team on the road, that helps. If you play, even like if you go on the road to Oregon and play really well and USC loses a close game, like that doesn't hurt. Like if you're showing that you can put up these big numbers against the better teams, has a massive game against Michigan in a couple weeks. All that stuff I think will help. But yeah, he could definitely be in the conversation right now. Just because you're USC's quarterback and you have like the number one offense in the country, you're going to be in the conversation.
He is moving up the odds rankings. I think he's has the 10th best odds right now on FanDuel. Fernando Mendoza, after last night, is up to first. The Indiana quarterback is first in Heisman odds right now. Crazy.
He didn't look as great early on, and now they're just like killers. Like, holy crap. Like, they kind of took some of the shine off USC's next game, which might help USC, or maybe they'll be upset. But Illinois getting absolutely boat race. But Indiana didn't look like awesome like itself early in the season. The last couple of games, they do. And then Cal's quarterback, they're like, oh, yeah, we don't need Mendoza. And then they get shut out by San Diego State last week. So, like, that was a little bit of a weird one.
It's a fickle game. And Maiava's tied for 11th on FanDuel. That's where he's at. I think we got another caller, right?
We do,
wow. Yeah. Okay, I got it this time.
Yes, thank you, Riley. This looks like Nick from Dallas. What's up, Nick?
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, hey. I've been a lifelong Trojan fan since the Rodney T era. I just want to bring a couple good points. I thought that I looked at the screen yesterday during the game last night. Yeah, I know it's 4 games in, but USC leads the country in sacks, but also keep in mind that Maiava has not been sacked once yet, and I think that's huge compared to what happened last year. So I think in the trenches, as he's doing great right now on both sides of the ball, my only concern moving forward is I think Anthony Lynn and Lincoln need to work on the defense from all these discipline penalties, stop giving them chances. Because remember, last night, I thought they gave Michigan State 4 penalties on one drive, and I think another penalty, I think it was on special teams, I could be wrong, but they handled that. I think we'll be fine. Because I like the fact that we're flying under the radar and nobody's talking about us right now. I love it, and I just think they have to get locked in for next week because Illinois took a really butt kicking last night, and I just think they need to go just stay locked in. But I think these next 5 games are going to be crucial, and I think at worst they'll probably go 4-1 if not undefeated because I think we're under the radar right now. But I do like what I've seen thus far this season.
Well, thanks, Nick, for the call. I appreciate it. I agree with everything you said, and I think the trench play on both sides, which you need in the Big Ten, has certainly improved. USC is getting after it. They only had 7 tackles for loss but Michigan State was giving up a lot more than that. But it's still, consistent pressure. And they've done a nice job there. And then also protecting Jayden Maiava. The offense can flow if he's not getting sacked. And, even when, specialist Caleb Williams, as you saw how many times he gets sacked last year in the NFL, you're like, that derails everything. You have those massive negative plays. They're not having any of those. Like, they're not getting the big negative plays. So trench play is better. The offense now is elite. We thought the trench play getting better on the defensive side would make the defense even better, and it's sort of like, there's a hit or miss there. But yes, I think it's important that trench play is better on both sides of the ball now that you're in Big Ten play.
Especially on defense. What a difference Eric Henderson makes being in there. The guys that he's brought in, he deserves a ton of credit. And I remember 2 springs ago, we were talking about, Derek Harmon enters the portal. USC really wanted him. He goes to Oregon, and then Harmon ends up being a first-round pick. And it was like, man, USC really could have used that guy. So then flash forward a year, they get Keyshawn Silver from the portal, who isn't quite the guy that Harmon is, but, they get the number 1 transfer portal defensive tackle. And, I kind of feel like even if they didn't have Silver, they would still be really good. The fact that they have so much depth and they still hit the home run in the portal, landing the number 1 guy is remarkable to me. You see Jakeem Stewart last night almost take a handoff from Aiden Childs. I think he was Pro Football Focus's highest graded player a week after Floyd Boucard was the number 2. He's another true freshman. He's in there. Kobe Pepe was giving USC some good snaps. Jade Abasiri. The amount of guys, Devin Tompkins, that they can throw at an opposing team is crazy. And I can be a skeptic a lot of the times. Like, you wouldn't think it would just work, but like everyone in the middle of that defense has worked and done a really good job. There's no one. It's like when they're in there, it's like, oh, okay, that guy is a problem. Everyone's been doing really well. The edges have been great. And then to Nick's point about the offensive line too, like Maiava not getting sacked. When the competition gets tougher, this group will be challenged more, obviously. But like through the first 4 games, the trench play has been way better than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
Like you go into a season and you think, okay, like yes, it'll be better, but like it's another thing to go from 0 to 100. Where last year they couldn't block against Michigan, and now they're not letting any sacks up, and then defensively they couldn't get any sacks, and they lead the country in sacks. It really couldn't be going any better, which is a big surprise to me.
Yeah. One quick thing too. So that horrific injury, if you saw, I think it was late in the second quarter. Wayne Matthews is third, the linebacker for Michigan State, tweeted earlier today, "Thank you for all the prayers and support. I'm doing a lot better now. I'll be back in no time." So that was good to see. I mean, the fact if you got to be neck brace and cut out of your jersey and carted off and right into an ambulance and go into a trauma center, like obviously none of that stuff is good news. But the fact that seems like he's okay, that I just wanted to pass that along.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Obviously, last night, I've never seen the Coliseum so quiet, and he was down on the field for a really long time, and the trainers were coming out, and they were signaling to, spinal and all that, and the stretcher, and everybody's hearts kind of, sank, like, what is going on? So I know a lot of people just sending prayers to him, so it's good to hear that he's doing at least better.
So that was good. And the great call from Nick, too, because we were going to talk about the defense some, and we
Yes,
got
he
to.
segued right for us.
Yeah, it was like we got into it a little bit. The penalties are certainly a problem, 10 of them in the game. And the fact that they came in bunches. It was funny, one of my 3 keys to victory was USC gave up 15 plays of 10 yards or more to Purdue. And they were in the hundreds in the country. They'd given up 43 of those through their first 3 games, even though 2 of the teams they played were, not very good. And they gave up 11 last night. I wanted to see them do 10. That 75-yard bomb ended up being the 11th one. But what I noticed was, and this happened with the penalties too, they were coming in bunches. They were like, so if you get one, then it was like boom, 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 and they all sort of like you were getting back-to-back chunk plays. And the penalties were happening the same way, especially that one killer drive on the third down or on the in the third quarter, where you get the running into the punter that allows the 4th down attempt. Then you get a penalty on that, and it gives the first down. And then it kept happening. Was there hands in the face and also a pass interference, whatever it was. But just and you basically gift a touchdown where you were up 3 scores, 21 points, getting the ball back, had the ball back, and then that all goes away. Those mistakes happened in bunches, and then USC gets the fumble like in the next drive and gives up another touchdown. But I think that the chunk plays were happening in bunches too. So I think USC's kind of compounding some of the mistakes with it's not just like spaced out. If there's like one here, one here, one here, they're like boom, 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 and that's how it. As far as being effective against you, it's sort of like they're allowing these mistakes to happen at the worst times because it's making it more effective against you.
It's hard to say a 4-0 team has a fatal flaw, but the big flaw for them, not closing the door on these teams, where Purdue a couple weeks ago, Michael Jackson bobbles the touchdown that would have put him down 1 score and would have given Purdue all the momentum, and then on the next play, Bishop Fitzgerald ends the game with the interception. And then last night, blink of an eye, it's a 3-score blowout, and then it's a 7-point game all of a sudden. What the heck? And part of that was because DJ Jordan fumbled, so that's not all on the defense, but then the defense did give up a touchdown after that. Against better teams, that will hurt them.
Yeah.
Where the offensive line looks great. We love the defensive line. Maiava's awesome. You can play really well, but if you don't kick a team while it's down and totally shut the door, like especially on the road, even though I feel like USC is more talented than some of these teams, in a tough environment, you're not going to be able to overcome those mistakes. So that, to me, is something they'll need to work on. College football can be fluky. It can be crazy. So just because you don't necessarily land a knockout blow early doesn't mean it's the end of the world. USC's undefeated. But, like, if you do that against a better team and they continue to play like this with the penalties, with the chunk plays happening in bunches, they're going to lose some of these games.
Yeah. The 2-3 score range is where, like, USC gets there, and then you sort of this, like, fall backwards where you have to like push through. It's like a barrier. You just have to like push through it. And you're like, Oh, you're up 21 now. Like boom, like
Yeah.
Now you put another point, point on the board, and the whole game has changed. And like even back to like that first year with I think the Tulane game and stuff, it's sort of like you were there, and then it's like we're up, and you get brought back. It's like you have to push through that, and then you put your opponent out. And you had mentioned in the press box when you don't put teams away like that, we were like, hey, now it could be Hassan Longstreet time soon because they were up 21 getting the ball back, and then all of a sudden you're down 14. I'm not bagging on you for that.
No,
but I'm just
no,
I mean,
was
I
funny.
kind of am, but like that. But it changed. Like you hurt your team by not putting them away because you could have had all your backups get reps, and you didn't really get to do that. We got a super chat. Do you want to hit the cha-ching over there?
Yes, I do.
Sorry we can't put it on the screen, but it's Alan. Thank you, Alan St. Louis. Riley's comments about, not you, Riley, Link Riley, about penalties yesterday rubbed me the wrong way at first, but I did some research, and he's right. Good teams get penalized a lot. So I don't know if you want to recap what he said or whatever. Like,
It's true, and I think it's easier to swallow when you're a consistently good team. It's like, okay, we're good. There's a proven track record where we can be good and have these penalties. Whereas USC, it's a little bit of uncharted territory right now. We need to see them win some games before it's like, okay, like I'm okay with these penalties. But kind of like what I said earlier, there's other statistics that are more informative about if a team's going to win or not. Not mainly, but one of them is quarterback rating, and Jayden Maiava was exceptional last night, and USC wins. I think in the NFL, the quarterback with the higher rating in a game wins like 80% of the time or something like that. So it's a really good metric of success. And penalties, it can go both ways, where if one team's just really aggressive and they're getting penalized a lot, that might not mean they're automatically going to lose. It just means they're giving up some yardage. So I agree with what the Super Chat said. I think right now, though, we're kind of in a wait-and-see mode where it's like, okay, Riley's teams have been a little undisciplined in the past. They've usually had some penalty issues. We want to see that cleaned up. But he kind of told us what he thinks last night, and it's we're going to be aggressive, and if that leads to some penalties, as long as we're winning, it's fine. We'll see what happens if they can keep winning, because I think that's the most important thing, obviously, and if there are penalties and wins, no one's going to care.
yeah, and they got to stop them happening in bunches too. Like if like you get one, you're like, all right, look, stop.
Stop the hands to the face.
Yes.
Stop the substitution stuff.
Two of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was two of them. The one that ran off of was it on the. I forget which.
There,
play
there
it
was one was called, and they almost had one on a punt.
It was a punt. Yeah, that would have been the disaster. Like
Yeah.
if it's a 12-man and you give a first down up. Like, but like Riley said, it was a turnover. Like that was.
Or it might have been a field goal, not a punt.
Yeah, it might have been. But it was
Still.
essentially a turnover where you were getting the ball back, and he took. I think he put that a lot of on coaching too. What was it?
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
the substitution stuff is on coaching.
Yeah, it's like that's all coaching, and so
inexcusable.
he took responsibility for that stuff. Anything else on the defense we wanted to?
I
bring up?
mean,
You got to talk about the secondary.
Oh yeah,
But Riley, go ahead, please.
well, I was just going to ask, if you're Danton Lynn, what are you saying?
Good
You both
question.
shake your head.
because last year, like we thought this was a fundamentally sound defense that just couldn't generate negative plays because they didn't have the bodies up front. They got the bodies up front. They're generating negative plays. Last night didn't get any turnovers, so they relied on those against Purdue. They did a better job on the chunk plays, but still gave up a bunch, and they were in groups, so it wasn't like spread. If you spread them out and like still force some punts, but the secondary having, I think, what was it? Was it the India podcast where we talked about over/under of
The coverage bust, and then they did right
and
away.
I said, you guys both took the under, and I said over, and like right on the first drive, they give a coverage bust. And of course, that 75-yarder that, and if you bettors out there, I'm sorry, that was a tough pill to swallow, giving up a 75-yard bomb for a touchdown and no cover. But yeah, multiple secondary coverage busts that you have to, Riley addressed it. Like you can't let that kind of stuff happen. And they weren't just like, those were touchdowns, two massive busts that both turned into touchdowns.
I don't think the second one was a bust. I think DJ Harvey just got beat, right?
Well, why are you having? I had a Hall of Famer from USC texted me last night about how do you can't have that be one-on-one. You have to keep it in front of you. You can't let it because I didn't see any safety help or anything over there. It was just guys streaking down the sideline, and you have like a one-on-one thing. Like you gotta protect against that at some point. Like your DB falls down. Like to me, that's a bust. But
So here's what I'll say. The busts having 3 and 4 games that lead to touchdowns when you've played Missouri State, Georgia Southern, and Michigan State all at home. All the busts have been at home, right? They didn't have a coverage bust that led to a touchdown against Purdue, I don't think. So
Okay, yeah.
you got 3 at home against those teams. That's not great. And I'm not making an excuse for it. But the offense is so good against those teams that it's okay. Against those teams. You got to tighten it up. I'm not saying they're fine, like it's no big deal. But when USC hires Lincoln Riley, what do you think? They're going to score 1 million points, and there might be some of these on defense. I know Danton Lynn is in here, and the equation changes. But, like, this is kind of what you signed up for, where the defense might have some head-scratching stuff, and the offense will just score 1 million points, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now in this first road game against Illinois. Like, let's see if this is sustainable. If they go into Illinois and they score, let's say, like, 42 points, but there's penalties, there's coverage busts, and they win 42-28, that to me would be like, clearly there's still stuff to work on, but that's their formula. Just offense wins, and that's what it's going to be this year.
But what if they can't get to 42?
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
If they're limited, then I'll come back in and I'll say, okay, maybe Riley still needs to adjust to the Big Ten. But right now he's catching the conference off guard. I mean, Michigan State couldn't defend USC at all yesterday.
No, Purdue couldn't either. They were just not.
They just fell for field goals.
If you're never punting, yeah, there was some. And I feel like the way a game, if you're dictating the pace of the game and you're putting up points, then it does change how the opposing offense goes. For a team like Michigan last year, where they're just running the ball, they didn't want Alex Orji throwing it at all because bad things were happening. If you go out and score touchdowns in your first 3 drives, like now they have to. Like now you're like forced into doing things you don't want to do, and it does put more pressure on the secondary, where maybe we didn't see this kind of pressure last year because game plans were a little bit different. You weren't trying to catch up. You weren't down 3 scores. So it puts more onus on the secondary to, hey, they're going to be throwing the ball now because we're up a couple scores. So now you got to do something about it. And so I think the nature of the game changes too, just because USC scoring a lot. Now the secondary is going to be more in their spotlight. And so far it's been kind of shaky.
And do I think this is the best formula in terms of what it takes to win a national championship? Probably not. But they're winning games. And they didn't win games last year.
Yes.
That's enough for me right now. Win it at all costs. If it's offense, if it's scoring 1 million points, the spread offense and just letting it go and letting it rip with Maiava, that's your recipe, fine. Who cares how it looks? Just win.
Yeah. I think I said this last year too, when it seemed like it was shifting to a defensive model. And my thing was like, okay, but USC's DNA with Lincoln Riley is to score points. Like you're going to do better as a team that just scores a lot of points than trying to be run clock and let the defense play. You could probably win that way, but you're used to doing it, a certain way. Like this is how you go. Like we want the food analogy. Like if you're there's like amazing sushi chef and he's opening a restaurant, it's probably going to be a sushi restaurant. And if you're like, this area really needs barbecue, and we have and it's like, okay, the area needs barbecue. Everyone's asking for a barbecue restaurant. The guy's probably a great chef and could open an amazing barbecue restaurant. But you know what's going to work best for him? If it's a freaking sushi restaurant, So I think for Lincoln Riley teams, he's the head coach. He's calling the plays. It's awesome to have a better defense, and I think you need that. But for this team to be successful, I have a hard time picturing you don't have a top 5 offense in the country. That's what Lincoln Riley makes work. If you're not doing that, I just don't think you're going to have as successful of a team. I'm not saying you can win a national championship or anything, but your highest ceiling for a Lincoln Riley coach team is a top 5 offense.
Totally agree. And that's why last year it was such a head-scratching year where it's like, what is going on here? Is it just the Big Ten and Riley didn't adjust? But like everything, there's no absolutes, and he's made some adjustments. The team is better personnel-wise. Another year in the system for a lot of these guys. And now the offense looks great. And Indiana scored, what was the final, 63-10? Like something ridiculous.
It was so bad.
And Illinois, they're not going to like that. They're going to bounce back. They're pissed, of course, but they have some serious injuries in their secondary. They're teetering. Going against Curt Cignetti at Indiana was a challenge for Illinois, obviously. What's it going to look like with this year's Lincoln Riley coach USC team going into Illinois? I think that's a fascinating talking point heading into this game after we saw what Curt Cignetti's team could do. What can Lincoln Riley's team do against Illinois?
Yeah, we got some people in the chat excited for the food.
Yeah, as they should be.
That's good. And Fight On Natty says, Yeah, we have like 330 people live and only 53 likes. So get in there, hit the like and the subscribe if you're on there. If you're on Facebook, you can share it to your feed, let people know about it. So we appreciate everyone watching live. The Sunday night shows do the best, recapping the games and everything. And so thank you for being a part of it. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, and of course, questions, keep them coming. I'm starring them. We're going to go over them at the end of the show.
Especially Facebook, because those will pop up on the screen.
We have any more
Yes.
calls, Ryan?
Oh, do we? No calls.
No calls.
Right 512-4-tunnel if you want to call.
You can tell?
Yeah, it says 0 calls right here.
Oh.
On the tab.
Let's try to get at least one more call tonight, okay?
Yeah. We got a couple.
I'll let
really
you
good
handle
ones.
the calls.
Thanks. You nailed the mute thing though. That was good. Yes. We had India do calls on Thursday, and whatever reason, when we have the call studio up to get calls in, there's like a little background noise. So we muted on our big board. We could show them you want to do the overhead?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's our big mixing board there. So there's a lot of buttons that Riley would have to push, but yes.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got it going, and we got the new computer, big old monitor there
right
now.
here.
So everything's new, should be faster. Still technical problems. That happens all the time. Whatever. What are you gonna do?
Nothing like Thursday, though. Tonight's been great.
Yeah, we're smooth sailing so far. So I don't know what we'll do that and see, but yeah.
Not to bring it back, but I do have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Ryan, you brought up just pressing the gas when you have that 3-score lead. Do you think that's detrimental in terms of how other teams are going to see USC, knowing that they aren't pushing it?
I think they've done it a couple times, but it was against the worst
Right.
opponents, and you want to see that happen in Big Ten play, like what Indiana did.
Exactly. That's the model. That's
Yes.
the next step for this team. That's a great point.
Kirk Signetti was. I think they were up. I think it was 63-10, or it might have been 58, whatever it was. 56.
And then it was belt to ass.
It was.
That's what you're looking for.
They were driving up 7 touchdowns or whatever it was, and you looked at him, and it looked like someone had kicked his dog. He looked so upset, and you're like, you are destroying a top 10 team, like just making a mockery of them. And he looks so upset, like this isn't good enough. I think that's sort of the attitude. You can't get complacent. There was zero complacency with him. He has a killer attitude, and I think some of it is just you have to have, you can't just feel, all right, we got this. That happens. We've all played sports. We've been in a situation where you think you're going to win the game easy, whatever we're playing, and you're like, and it's like, oh, and they get a little momentum, and then they get a little confidence, and you're like, oh, crap, and then maybe you press a little bit. And that's the one thing that, it happened in the game. But USC, okay, now you're only up 7 with the ball. Riley, you mentioned the great play on 3rd and 3 that he kept it going. I thought they responded really well because last year there have been a couple situations you could see that USC would have found a way to lose that game. And they end up stretching it back to 21 points, which is what you want to see. So, but I think there's an attitude there, Riley. You want to just be that killer instinct. Signetti kills, boom. He just destruction. Don't think about, Michigan State is not Jonathan Smith, he's a nice guy. No, he's he just kicked your dog, put a whole bunch of points on him.
It's a great question, though, because in these 2 games, they've had chances to separate and they haven't. And then early in the year, you're always looking for, okay, who's for real, who's not. And Indiana plays Illinois, and we all leave that game thinking Indiana's for real. And I think USC is trending towards being for real, but they haven't had that Illinois game where it's 65-10. It's okay, you can't miss this team. By letting Purdue hang around, by letting Michigan State hang around, it's good that they got the win, but maybe we should start changing the conversation to okay, they didn't cover the spread in those 2 games. I want to see a little bit more before I'm all in. But clearly there's a lot to like, and we've started the whole show talking about how great the offense is and they're scoring a lot of points. But that's the next level for this team now. Just slamming the door in other teams' faces.
Bori in the chat was he didn't realize that we were all in the same studio. Yeah, so it looks different. Riley has a different background.
Yeah.
But if you want to put up the overhead shot again, this is our setup. So we have one desk and there's some cameras in front of us. Camera on Connor, camera on me, camera on both of us. And then Riley has her camera on her. And then we have the overhead one you can see. But this is our little It's not a big space, but there's our little setup. We make it work. But yes, we're all in. Sometimes we have people remote, but right now, usually when you see someone in that chair, they're in studio.
Well, that's why if I turn to you guys, it looks like.
Yes, it looks weird. We can kind of look at the cameras, and we're sort of looking at Riley, but Riley has to like talk to us, but just look straight ahead.
Yeah.
So
It all works out.
that's how the sausage is made. Yeah. We got another super chat.
It's a funny one.
Sager, $5 for Connor to give the viewers his Micah Benuelos dance impression when the show wraps.
Oh, this dance? No, that's what Micah said.
Oh,
I remember that? Chris asked him, and then Micah Benuelos just did the dance for him. Chris and I did it on instant. Riley and I busted a move, too.
We did.
There was like back-to-back dancing videos.
No, 3.
3?
3 weeks
Three.
in a row of dancing.
Wow.
I feel compelled to because there was a monetary donation, but
There was.
we'll see when the show
See what we do
ends.
at the end. Yeah, maybe we could put the overhead screen and you can do the bigger dance.
I'm not good at it. Chris can do it. I
Yeah,
can't
I'm
really
not
do
very.
it.
I don't know if Riley's good at it, but
No, I was telling Connor, I was watching the instant during class. Don't tell anyone. And I started laughing out loud when you guys were dancing. And everyone's like, Riley, what are you laughing at? And it was so funny.
yes. Let me see. I think those were all the things. Oh, the game atmosphere I wanted to bring up.
Yes.
They changed some stuff. You actually got to see it, so I want to see from the student perspective, Riley. Talking to people at USC, they really were trying to get the Coliseum rocking. Lincoln Riley praised everyone. They felt the energy was great there. I had some friends that were in town for the game, and they got in early. If you were there between 6:30 and 7:30, you could get a hot dog and a drink for $10. And they told me, like, yeah, they got, like, I think they were getting beers or seltzers or something and hot dogs for, like, $10. Like, this is great. And then they went back to the same station to get, like, a seltzer later, and it was, like, $20 just for the drink. So, like, yeah, get there early. They did what they could to try to, like, get people fired up, knowing it was a late game and everything. But the atmosphere seemed pretty good. I don't know what it felt like in the student section, Riley.
Yeah, and Connor, I think you posted a picture when it was halftime, and the seats were kind of empty because it was what?
I did not. That was not me because people get very up in arms if you post empty seat pics. That was not me.
Yeah, no, I actually thought it was great. You don't really know what to expect when it's that late of a game. Students, are they going to be tired by then, going out tailgating before? But I was surprised. There were a lot of people out there waving the towels. They were out there to support, and it was a late game, ended very late. But I said this last week or last time, I personally love night games. I think the atmosphere of football with the lights on, it's just different. And so I thought the atmosphere was great. Coach Eric Musselman was there. Magic Johnson was there. You have those names that people like to see either on the field or just, on Instagram, on Twitter, seeing them in the suite. So I thought overall it was pretty great.
Yeah, you had Matt Leinart, the tunnel captain. Yep. He was exciting. Chris put his ghost notes like someone from The Bachelor or some group.
Yes,
the
Bachelor Nation.
There was Bachelor people there. I don't know who they were, but
DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, yeah, DeMar DeRozan was there. That was cool.
Yeah. And we were talking about Walker Lyon's girlfriend is on Dancing with the Stars. So there's like a lot like that kind of stuff. When you go to Lincoln, Nebraska for the game, like you're not going to have just random. I don't know some of these people.
They had Josh Pate in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Our friend.
Josh Pate. Yeah, our buddy. Yes, but like that kind of stuff is pretty unique to Los Angeles. Nick Lachey was there, but just not like A-list celebrities, but just a bunch of people that you've probably seen on TV and stuff.
What was it like when they were rolling with Pete Carroll? Who was showing up then?
Snoop was a big one. Will Ferrell would show up a lot, but I think the weirdest part was I remember like someone from like People magazine, like magazines were sort of big then,
back in the day.
This woman was dressed looked like she was going to like some kind of club, or like Devil Wears Prada kind of thing, like just like you knew the outfit was like on point, whatever it was, and comes up to me and was just like, "Do you know where Matt Leinart is? Because he was dating like Lauren from the Hills or something like that, whatever." Like, and coming there to ask questions like that we'd never seen really in college football, like that. There's crossover between being a star college football player and being like in the celebrity world, which was now being like reality shows and all that stuff. It was all kind of happening at the same time. And USC was in LA that didn't have, NFL football and everything. It's sort of like a perfect like confluence of all this stuff happening. And those guys were like rock stars, like all the clubs in LA, like you could get, like they would do all kinds of stuff there. It was it was pretty crazy. But yeah, having like the reporter from like People Magazine or whatever, like asking about him, like you just wouldn't see that. That wasn't going to happen in Tallahassee or Tuscaloosa, But that was just like a weird, very unique LA thing for early 2000s.
Did she quote you?
No, I don't think. No, she wasn't talking to me. She was just finding out where Matt Leinart was.
Was there a
gosh.
scrum for Leinart that day?
Yeah,
So what did she say? Is it true you're dating this person? Like, what was Tim Tesla like?
I don't remember.
Let's stick to football.
But she definitely like asked some kind of question or something. Yeah, it was.
That's fun.
It was. Those were crazy because practices were open, fans could come. Like it was very different. I remember like for the pro day, for like there were so many people on the field at the track stadium, and Reggie Bush doing like bench pressing and stuff, and there were people all watching. And like it was just kind of nutty back then. It was fun. We could go to all the off-season workouts and film the guys doing stuff, and it was great. But
different era,
different time. Yeah, and they had the worst facilities, like literally so bad. Like I interviewed Chris Carlisle. I've told the story a million times, but Chris Carlisle so he's the head strength and conditioning coach of the defending national champion USC Trojans. Reggie Bush, like is benching like 2 feet away in some cramped area, and he's in like a broom closet. I'm interviewing him, and that story he told her is like, "Hey man, we need better facilities," and like, "You guys got to go out and win a conference championship." So they did, and he's like, "Hey man, you need better facilities," and he's like, "Well, go out and win a national championship." So they did. And then they're like, "Hey, we need better facilities." Like, "Well, you already won a national championship. You don't need better facilities." So crazy.
Should we see some questions?
Yeah. I think did we lose something? Okay, I think we're good.
No, we're good. I don't know what happened with that.
My screen went dead. I was like, "Oh crap! Are we out? Am I talking?"
We're good.
We're good. Yeah. I got one from Walker. Question: Ryan, Connor, Chris, and Riley. Are you all going to Champaign?
Swap out Riley for shotgun, right? Sorry, Riley.
Yeah. So we'll be there in Chicago. Friday night, we're going to do something at Theory Bar with the local club, the Chicago Alumni Group there. 6 p.m., Theory, downtown Chicago. Should be a lot of fun. So we did it 2 years ago, and it was great.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Someone on Facebook asked when the team's going out.
So I put something in the war room, and
sounds like Thursday for sure, right?
It looks like Thursday now. Yeah. So what I wrote in the war room Friday, if you're not a subscriber to USCFootball.com, jump in there and pull it up. But I put in there that they have to switch their charter, and it's not the easiest thing to do. But from what we're hearing, that was happening, and USC would actually go out on Thursday. The model has been the day before, which is consistent with what the NFL does for west to east travel. So they were following that. This game is 9 a.m. local time, so I think that's where Lincoln Riley was stepping in and be like, "Hey, we need to do something different." So I believe it's going to be Thursday, but I didn't get 100% confirmation.
I think it's going to be Thursday too, based on something I heard. But.
Okay, well, perfect then. Yeah, just from what I was reporting, like that's what I'd heard. So. What else we got?
Let's see. Question
I'll
about...
try to pull up some other ones here, too. Yeah, if you have questions in the chat, like, sorry, I wasn't on YouTube, I'll try to pull them up there and get them. Yeah.
Just talk about Jacoby Lane's injury. Was it Wednesday, Connor, that he was at practice when we did our instant?
Yes. So he came out like an hour before practice in flip-flops and just regular clothes, and he walked away from the facility. And Chris and I were like, all right, we'll just monitor that. And then he never came back. So he did not practice Wednesday. And then we heard from a source who talked to someone that he did indeed not eventually come back out. So he wasn't there at all. And, yeah, we reported that Wednesday. It looks like it's an upper body thing with him, not a concussion. So Riley said last night that it's inconclusive how long he'll be out. So that doesn't really make you feel great about his availability for Illinois. Hopefully, if he doesn't play in that game, USC will have the bye after that, and then he'll be back. But, not really sure. We saw him warming up, and just based on our observations from the warm-ups, Ryan, it didn't really look like he was able to move the right arm, and it looked kind of like a shoulder thing to me. So we'll see just as time goes on with that. But, yeah, tough injury. So USC's going to need him for the home stretch. I hope he can heal up soon.
Yeah, we heard shoulder. I had heard shoulder. It wasn't like the best source, but they were right. And then, and when we watched him warm up, it just didn't look like he was like moving that part, So he came out in the warm-ups and stuff, but we were both like, this ain't happening. And the fact that Lincoln Riley was like, he might be out for a little while, I'm guessing he's not saying that if he's playing for sure against Illinois.
Yeah.
But the offense looked great. It's different. You're going to be playing on the road. But, yeah, they show they can do it. Lemon can handle a lot of it. You can throw to the tight ends.
Shout out to Jayden Richardson, who got hammered in the end zone and then came back and caught a key third down conversion. I mean, that's a guy who was playing Division III football a couple of years ago and looked like someone last year who wasn't going to be in the mix, and now he's Jacoby Lane's backup and is beating out some other guys on the team like Prince Strawn, who didn't play at all in that game. That's pretty crazy that Jayden Richardson's carved out that role. Credit to him.
Yeah. Chinook Hines, a true freshman, gets his first touchdown. Chris tweeted out as a haiku for him.
Yes, that was awesome. And real quick, while we're on injuries, so Elijah Page didn't return to the game, and I forget exactly what Lincoln Riley's comments were, but he made it sound like Page is day-to-day, hopefully, but like his status will be something to monitor going into Illinois for sure. I mean, the fact that he didn't finish this game against Michigan State, I get it was precautionary, but like he got into the sweats and did not come out for the second half. So we're going to have to pay attention to that too.
Walker Lamer in the YouTube chat says, how much betting activity would you estimate is happening on these games?
A lot.
I think a lot. I don't think the NFL kind of level, but there's a bunch of betting, I would think. Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah. There was a...
Now that it's legal, yeah.
Yeah.
Being in the stands, you could tell.
Really?
You could tell who had money on the game, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting, yeah. I mean, the NCAA runs commercials where they're like, "Don't send hate to athletes," because especially if it's like football, whatever, like everyone cares about. But I mean, if like you're betting on water polo and some goalie gives up a bunch of goals and they lose and they shouldn't have, like, that you're gonna notice that if people are coming in your DMs and stuff. And I feel bad for the student athletes because. It adds popularity to it, but it also puts more of a spotlight on you. And if you screw up or you don't play well, bettors get really upset.
It definitely increases more online hatred and awful stuff towards these poor kids. So, it's a whole new world, and I'm with you. That's a whole big stressor that a couple years ago we weren't even thinking about.
Yeah. All right.
Facebook question.
Yeah.
From Mike Langford.
Hey, Mike.
Second question on this subject. Do you think Riley maybe doesn't want to run up the score like Alabama used to, trying to give the other a better way to play up to them?
I don't think so. I think if you have a chance to really separate, you take it.
Yeah. I think as a coach, you're trying to win. And when you're up 3 scores and you're like, okay, like, but, one screw up and like a pick 6, boom, you're gone. Like now it's 2 scores. And then like you're instantly like, now we might lose this game. So I think if you get to the point where you're up like 5 touchdowns, you can think about that. But I think in the 2 to 3 touchdown range, like you're not thinking, unless there's like a minute left in the game or something. But if you still got a quarter of football and you're down, like people scored 3 touchdowns in a quarter easy, So I think it's less about not running up the score, unless it's like, it's 45-3, then you might do it.
Do we have a call? One call?
Oh, it looks like we have a call, yeah. Real quick, Mark had a question. Should Hansen get some credit for the fact that 3 offensive line positions had to be rotated, and yet the line still played pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that earlier, and I think that's true. Oh, we got Eddie from Orange. Oh, you want to unmute him?
I got you.
Oh, I know. I think we did. We probably didn't mute him again. That's okay.
Eddie, you're on. Hello.
Hey, hello. Hey, Connor, grow out the beard, man. Come on, you gotta do it. You gotta do it for the people.
I will.
Hey, so I was just thinking about like Spanos, right? I know you guys probably talked about him already, but I mean, this guy's played like 13 games in the last 4 years. Only played 1 year of high school football. Typically defensive linemen take 2 years especially interior defensive linemen, to get into that college build. Is the guy just literally a Marvel hero? I mean, it seems like he's a genetic freak to go from playing just part of his sophomore year to now making plays in the Big Ten, in the backfield. Have you guys ever seen anything like this? Someone being able to just really play the 3-tech this quickly into their career? I'll take the call line. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie. There's no replacement for game reps, but when Jakeem was ruled ineligible, I know he worked with his trainer, Clyde Alexander, who trains all sorts of high-profile kids in Louisiana, college athletes, high school athletes, and they relentlessly worked really hard. So that definitely helped get him prepared for this, but clearly there's no replicating what playing defensive line at USC is going to be, especially if you're a high school kid who's missed some time. So, yes, he's worked really hard, but he's also just so naturally gifted that that's what we're seeing. And, I mean, I thought he would have an adjustment period, and then early in that first game against Georgia Southern, and maybe got pushed back a little bit, but, like, he's doing amazing. He was PFF's highest-graded defensive player for USC this past week, and he doesn't have any experience at all. Like, he's just a damn good player.
He is, and I think he did get pushed around a little bit early on, where it's sort of
and
like,
then that ended.
yeah, welcome to college football. You figure it out, and you haven't played and all that. You're big, strong, fast, and all those things, but now you got some big, strong, fast guy pushing you around, and you're like, okay. We hadn't seen him early on, and Connor goes to me and goes, or we're in the press box next to each other, and he asked me, hey, have you seen Jakeem Stewart or Thanos or whatever, I don't remember what he said. And then you're like, oh, I think he's in. And so I pull up my binoculars, like the first play he's in, I watch him. So I just watched him specifically. And he, like, as timed the snap perfectly, like under the blocker, the running back, like before he got the ball, like Stewart was like almost could have taken the handoff himself and just blew the play up. And like right when I was watching it, I was like, there he is. I was like, wow, that was a really impressive, maybe one of the most impressive defensive plays you're going to see on the night. But that was just for him to call out and be like, oh, let's watch him play his first play. Crushed. And it was really good.
And it's early, but I remember when his recruiting ranking dropped because he reclassified and he hadn't played, and I was like, okay, I get it. But, like, if he continues on this trajectory, that recruiting ranking dropping might not look too smart.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, though, Eddie.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you, Eddie.
Any other YouTube questions we got?
I think we're good here. I'm sorry if I missed some, just because it's, there's no way to star them and everything. But any other Facebook ones? We're good?
Just asking about Paige. You guys kind of talked about that. Not really a solidified update.
Walker has one more. What are the behind-the-scenes aspects of Jen Cohen, Lincoln Riley, and Chad Bowden addressing egregious bad referee calls that ruin USC game trajectories? Is that two different questions, or?
I think that's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jen Cohen, Lincoln Riley. Okay, what are the behind-the-scenes aspects of Jen Cohen, Lincoln Riley, Chad Bowden addressing the referees? I haven't heard
Riley goes back and forth with the Big Ten. It's his thing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, he'll communicate, hey, these are the calls that we had questions about. They have the dialogue. I don't think Jen Cohen would be involved unless it was something like we saw in the Oklahoma-Auburn game where there was a crazy missed call, and then the SEC had to release that statement.
Yeah.
Like, there will be, not retribution. What was the word? Like, we're going to get this right, and someone's going to pay the price.
Yeah,
like,
basically that crew's going to be suspended. Or whatever.
Yeah. Then an AD would get involved. But right now it's just the head coach, and he goes back and forth with the conference. That's kind of the whole deal.
Yeah, Pat Hayden got involved back in the day with Steve Sarkisian on the sidelines with referees. That's not a good look. You don't really want that to happen. So I think Chad and Jen can be behind the scenes and being supportive, and if there's back channels with like Big Ten officials or whatever, probably more the AD than anything. But there's a path to address it, and Lincoln Riley does that.
We had a question about Kennedy Urlacher, a couple of people asking about him. He was just beaten out by Christian Pierce. He's a special teamer, and unless there's an injury, I don't expect to see him on defense much with the first team.
Yeah. Cool.
Not really a question, just a comment.
Okay.
We can talk about it. Preserve Hassan's red shirt if possible.
Thanks, Carlos, for the. Yeah, that doesn't matter. He's the backup quarterback, so if there's opportunities to get him better, Lincoln Riley knows he's one play away from getting in the game. They would much rather season him up as a quarterback than preserve some red shirt that probably won't matter anyway, because if you're really good, you're gone in 3 years.
If he can get it, though, and he doesn't end up playing,
Yeah,
then that would be the best case scenario, in my opinion.
yeah. It's nice to have, but it's not. If he's the backup quarterback, Lincoln Riley already made it clear, like, they want to get him reps, So you have to weigh like pros and cons of doing it. It's fine if you can get the guy to redshirt, but if there's situations where you want to get him better because you're only one play away from him being your dude and you got high expectations for the season, like I think they're going to try to get him ready.
Brian McCall says Pierce has been underwhelming. I think Pierce has been pretty solid. He didn't have a great game last night, but he had the sack against Purdue, and it's clear that the staff really trusts him. Last night wasn't tremendous for him, but I still think he's been pretty solid, and I really like him. I think he has a chance to be really good, and next year I see him being one of the leaders on that defense.
Yeah, there was like a bad angle, I think, on one of the touchdowns or something, or one of the big plays that he had took that I just saw from – I think I saw it live, but then I watched like the replay on the iPad, like right there. And but yeah, I'd really like to see Kamari Ramsey back just playing safety. Like I'm not saying that that's like going to fix everything, but it just seemed like that's more a natural position for him. And I think so we'll see if Alex Graham comes back or Prophet Brown comes back or they figure something else out. But I just kind of would like to see him back there.
And James has got to know, was Lemon injured in the last minutes of the game?
I don't think he was injured, but he had tightened up and he was getting stretched out on the sideline and he looked a little uncomfortable. I would characterize it as normal bumps and bruises at the end of a football game where you return all the kicks and punts that he does and catch 8 passes. So I don't think he was injured, but I noticed that too where he was walking a little gingerly, and that'll be something to monitor. So if you... Again, aren't a subscriber to USCFootball.com, you really should, because we'll give you all the updates about practice tomorrow. And if you're lucky, I can put some stuff on Twitter, but you're not getting all the stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, you'll be a subscriber there. I think we'll have one last one, and we probably let you guys go. Fight on Natties. Is Lynn intentionally keeping the defense not so vanilla, but a little blend scheme? I don't know.
Bland, maybe?
Maybe it means bland. I don't know. No, I think they're trying. I mean, I don't think they're like holding something back they needed to win at Purdue. Like you needed to get a road win. Like I don't think you can overlook Purdue, and they gave up 15 chunk plays.
I think he's just being tested in a way for the first time for him that he hasn't been. Obviously, they were tested last year, but I think he's being presented with a challenge right now. The secondary, especially the corners, haven't been great. They need Kamari Ramsey to play nickel, and he's doing a nice job there overall, but he's not in his natural spot. And this is something that Lynn, he's still in his 3rd year as a defensive coordinator. I think this is just something that's new for him, and he's got to work his way through it.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to wrap it up. Tunnel Vision. USC beats Michigan State 45-31. USC now 4-0. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, who listened live. Thank you for your comments, your questions, our 2 live callers. We love to see it. We love to hear it.
We had 3.
3, sorry.
Yeah.
3. Now, Connor.
Yes. Oh, the dance.
Yeah. Overhead view.
That's all I have. I can't do the dance. If you want to see it, go to the YouTube and watch Micah Benuelos' most recent interviews from like a couple weeks ago. But
Nice.
Yes.
Sager, don't say I didn't do what you paid us to do.
So thank you to everyone. Illinois on Saturday. Coverage this week. What do we got coming up?
I'll do Harvey Hyde podcast on Monday. We'll have Connor and I podcast on Wednesday, and then we'll be Tunnel Vision previewing the game Thursday night. Come check it out. And then, of course, we'll be back with Riley Sunday night after the game to talk about what a lot of USC fans are hoping, a big win against the ranked team in Champaign.
And then instant analysis Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley talks Thursday this week because it's an away game. So It's a chock-full week.
A lot of stuff at uscfootball.com.
Yep. I'll see you guys Wednesday for instant analysis and then back here in the studio Sunday. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and good night.